Dear students, welcome to our science class once again. And already we have learnt up to this part three states of matter, and we have learnt about the general properties of the solid, liquid, and gas material. Now, elaborately, we have to learn about each state. What is solid state? What do you mean by solid state? When you are sitting in a chair, when you are using your book, your pen, everything has a definite shape. How the chair looks like, the book will look like differently, the pencil will look like differently, the pen will look like differently. So everything has a definite shape. They will have a distinct boundaries, a fixed volume. How the chair has a fixed volume, it will be quite heavier than your book, and the pencil will also be lighter than your book. So that means they will have a specific weight, specific volume, and they have negligible compressibility. What is the meaning of compressibility? If you will compress any solid material, then it will not change its shape. Solids have a tendency to maintain their shape when subjected to outside force. If you will give any outside force, if you will compress any solid material, it will not change its shape. It will have a tendency to intact, to make the shape intact. Solids may break under the force, but it is very difficult to change their shape, so they are called as the rigid. You can break the solid by giving the force, but then also you cannot change its shape by giving the outside force. So that's why the solid are called as very rigid. So what is about the rubber band? Think about it. If we will stretch the rubber band, it will expand in its shape. So is it solid or is it anything else? What do you think? It is solid, because if we will stretch the rubber band under force, it will be expanding. But if we will lose the force, it will come, or it will regain its same shape like the previously if the force is removed. But if you will give excessive pressure or excessive force, then it breaks. What is about the sugar and salt? They, when you keep in a jar of different shape, then they will take the shape of the jar. So the sugar and salt, they are solid or liquid? What do you think? The sugar and salt are solid, because the crystal of sugar or the crystal of salt, they will remain fixed, but they are very small in their size. So that's why they are taking the shape of the jar, but individual sugar or individual salt crystal, their shape will remain fixed. Now think about the sponge. Is it solid or is it anything else? Because if we will compress the sponge, then what is happening? You can compress it, no? You can change the shape of the sponge by compressing it. But how it can be possible? Because the sponge will have minute holes and the air will be trapped in it. So when you press it, the air is expelled out. So there is no change in the shape of the sponge. Only the structural change is there, because the air is expelled out, and then only we can able to compress it. Now the liquid state. So that was about the solid state, we all have learnt about. Now what is about the liquid state? Liquids have no fixed shape but have a fixed volume. Because if you can put a glass of water in a big cup, then it will take the shape of the cup. If you will put it in a bowl, it will take the shape of the bowl, but the volume of the water will be same in each cases. Okay, now the liquids flow and it can change its shape, so they are not rigid like the solid material. Solids and liquids can diffuse into liquids. That means if you will, the first activity, can you remember, where you have taken the water, glass of water, and you have put one salt, that 1 teaspoonful of salt, and you have stirred it. Then after some time you cannot see the salt. Why? Because the salt particles will get into the spaces of the water molecules. So the water is the liquid and salt was the solid. And the second one, there also you have seen the liquid with potassium permanganate we have made the liquid, that is the solution, pink color solution, and we were doing the activity. So the solid and liquid, the both can diffuse into the liquid. The gases from the atmosphere diffuse and dissolve in the water also. So how can you prove that? Because the water plants, the water animals are also that, they also there in our environment. They are breathing inside the water with the help of the oxygen that is present in the water. So how the oxygen is the gas, how it can be present in the water? Because the gas also can diffuse in the water, or the gas also can be diffused in the liquid. So that will be important for the survival of the aquatic animals and plants, because oxygen and carbon dioxide both can be diffused in the liquid form. Now the last part, all living creatures need to breathe for survival. The aquatic animals can breathe under the water due to the presence of dissolved oxygen in the water. Thus, we may conclude that solid, liquid, gases, these three states can diffuse into the liquid. The rate of diffusion of liquid is higher than the solid. That means if you will mix the liquid into liquid, then it will be mixed more quickly than the mixing procedure of the solid and liquid. This is due to the fact that in the liquid state, particles move more freely and have greater space between each other as compared to the particles in solid state. When you are mixing liquid and liquid, they will have greater space between them. Okay, they can mix with each other very easily in compared to solid and liquid mixture. Now the gaseous state, that is the last one. You can see it here. One syringe like structure is here, and it is closed with rubber cork because the gas is already there, and on the upper portion there is one piston. So take a 100 ml syringe and close their nozzle by rubber cork, and then remove the piston from the syringe. Leaving one syringe untouched, fill water in the second and piece of chalk in the third. Means you have to take 3 syringes. You can remove the piston from the syringe. So remove the 3 syringes, the piston from 3 syringes. Then in one syringe you leave it like that simply. In the second one you put some water there, and in third syringe you put a piece of chalk there. Now insert the piston back into the syringe. You may apply some Vaseline on the piston before inserting them, because you can create some smooth movement by applying the Vaseline there. Now try to compress the content by pushing the piston in each syringe. Now what will you observe? Tell me. In the first syringe, it is full of gas. In the second syringe, it is full of liquid. And in the third syringe, there is a piece of chalk. So, what will be your observation? In which case, you have to give more pressure, and which piston can be moved and which piston it is very difficult to move. Just do the practical, and if possible, otherwise you can think about it also, and I am waiting for your answer. This is your homework for today. Okay, so Thank you.